Hey everyone, David Nagel here. Today I'm taking you inside the universal law of relativity. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the definition, real-world examples of how you can use this law to benefit your life, and so much more. Make sure that you subscribe and comment down below your biggest takeaway. Let's get into it. The universal law of relativity is one of those laws that goes directly to the idea of understanding how powerful it is based on the way that you think. And using this law allows us to really change our perception about different things that are in our life. For instance, when we're looking at something, whether it's good or bad, and it's something that we're experiencing in our life, if we say to ourselves, hey, this is really bad or this is really good, we have to ask ourselves a different question to really kind of understand where's that coming from. And here's the question: what are you comparing it to? And that's right. Now think about that. If I say this is bad or if I say this is good, what I don't realize that I'm doing is that I'm actually comparing that opinion, that idea, or that meaning to something else. I'm using the law of relativity, but I don't even know that I'm using it unless somebody taught me how to use it. What's really great about this law is that when you understand the law, it helps you understand how your mind is working, how you're using your mind, and how you can consciously use your mind to change things or to change the way that you're thinking so that it gives you different opinions, different ideas, and most importantly, different options so that you don't become stuck in just one way of thinking. If you've ever listened to a debate or perhaps two people having a discussion or maybe even an argument, say at a table, and they're really stuck, like the opinions, the ideas are not moving. A person can't seem to get their message across or their idea so somebody can see something different and perhaps come up with a different opinion. Why? Because maybe the different opinion could change somebody's life. Maybe it could allow us to have a breakthrough in thinking. Maybe it could help us solve some of the major problems that we have in the world. What is it that we're up against that is causing this problem? Well, what we're up against is this. We form a meaning in our mind that then dictates how we're perceiving something, and we become locked into that meaning. Now, there's all different kinds of reasons that we become locked into meanings. Usually it has something to do with a story that we tell ourselves about that meaning, and then the emotion that goes along with it, and we develop a bias. And the bias has this funny way of not wanting to let us out of the way that we're perceiving something. But if we understand the law of relativity, what we can do is we can take a step back from anything that we're experiencing, and we can do something productive that allows us to possibly change the way that we're thinking, or definitely change the way that we're thinking, so that we can determine whether or not what we're thinking, how we're thinking, and what we want to do with it is productive. So let me give you an idea, a visual idea of what this looks like, because it's not really complicated. The only thing that's complicated about it is letting go of the stories that we build within our own mind that keep us stuck in the problem. But this shows you how to change it. So we're looking at three boxes that I drew on this board. And if we're looking at these three boxes, we might say that the little one is small, and the one in the center is medium size, and then the one on the end is large. But when we're looking at one that's small and we're looking at one that's large, really, in truth, these boxes just are. They're not either large or small unless we compare them to something else. This box is only large if I compare it to these other two boxes. If it stands all on its own, it's just a box of a size. It's neither large nor small. It's not even medium because we're not comparing it to anything else. Now, it's important to understand that our mind works this way. It's looking for comparisons because our mind wants to find out what something means, and then once we find out what it means, we go into our storehouse of memory and we're looking for, in this meaning, am I safe? Does this give me the correct meaning? Does this put me in jeopardy? Does this allow me to see something that's an opportunity for me that maybe is even better? We're literally comparing in our mind what this means and then what are we comparing it to? Because this could also be the use of good and bad, right? We could say this is good or bad, but in order to do that, we have to compare it to something else. If we remove the comparison from the visual idea of what we're looking at, or even the intellectual or the conceptual idea, we're left with just the way one thing might be. So if I take away that and I say this box just is, it's neither big or small unless I compare it to something else. But if I remove that comparison, if I take the ones away that are on the side, like this, the box literally just is. It's neither big or small, it just is. And if we're not comparing it to anything in our mind, it remains just is. But here's the problem. If I immediately start to compare it to something in my mind, if I'm doing it with something that might be big and something that's smaller, where I can get myself into a lot of trouble is if I have a meaning that is attached to these other boxes. If I have a meaning that's attached to those other boxes, and then I make this center box mean something based on a previous bias of something else that has meaning in my life, I might take something that could be extremely valuable to me and attach a meaning to it that makes it not valuable to me, or actually makes it detrimental in my life. It can also cause problems in relationships. It can cause problems with children. It can prevent us from actually finding ways through problems so that we're not stuck with a predetermined idea that has nothing to do with this box, just because we've had experience with the box in the past, and the experience that we had with the box in the past was a negative experience. If I start then taking that law of relativity and I attach it, or I compare it, or I give it a meaning based on something that was bad in the past, then I don't give this a fair shot of meaning what it could mean in the present. In other words, this could mean something really great. But if I can't get it out of my mind that the comparison in the past meant something bad, then I might be stuck with something that has no bearing whatsoever on the current experience that I'm having. This law is a very simple law, but what it does is it allows us to get out of biases that we hold in our mind that keep us trapped in situations. When we talked about the law of polarity, we talked about money. And I said some pretty bold statements that usually trigger people in some very interesting ways, with the idea that actually everybody has the same amount of resources on the planet. They just don't understand how to think about it. If I go through my life and I say something is expensive, I label something as expensive, I'm only doing that because I'm comparing it to something. Right? So what does that mean? It means that I may not be actually looking at the accurate value of something that I'm experiencing right now because I'm comparing it to something in my past, something that may or may not have had value in my past. And then that causes me to be stuck with the experience that I'm having in the moment. However, if I understand this law and I say, you know something, I'm not going to compare this. I'm not going to compare this box to either one. I'm going to allow it to be what it is, and I'm going to search it for its own truth, or I'm going to actually decide something that's actually more beneficial, and I'm not going to be led by my biases. Then I'm using the law of relativity in a way that's very productive. And I don't get stuck in a bias, whether it's mine or someone else's. I'm literally practicing the way that I think in a very constructive way, and it really helps set my life free. Use this law, practice it immediately, because you'll see what it does is it opens up the way that you think, and it allows you to experience more in a very short period of time. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Universal Law videos. I'll be dropping a new one each week. See you again soon.